Happy Frugal Friday, K-Squad. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Look, I got this pumpkin and my cat Ghost has been whittling it down, just sharpening her teeth. This is why we can't have nice things. In this video, we're gonna talk about our savings challenge results that we've been doing as a community this past month. And I'm also going to talk about prepping your budget for next month. Let's get into it. Thanks for joining us for your weekly dose of frugal inspiration. Happy Frugal Friday. This month as a community, we've been doing Save-tember. And I know that budgets are pretty tight right now. I know people are struggling just to reach basic needs. So the concept of living below your means might be a challenge, and that's exactly why we did this challenge. So we could take a look at our budgets and see, what are we spending? Where's the money going? And is there any room for improvement? Is there any room to find spaces where maybe we're spending money where it's not that important, so we could spend it on places that are more important? And I hope that you've had results. I'm really looking forward to you sharing what happened this month. If you've got some highlights or some lowlights, or just what did you learn? Did you learn something new by really paying attention to what was coming in and what was going out? Did you learn any shortcuts? Did you get a new tip that you want to share with us? This community is all about sharing what works, and then we can sift through as a community, as an individual, or as families, and look through and say, hey, that might work for me. No, that's not for me. That's not going to work for me. Throw some out the window, but grab some and go, oh, let me give this a shot. Maybe this will help me in the future. And that's how we all learn. And that's what I love about seeing you all each week. This Save-tember, I was able to save about $2,000. This has a lot to do with how I budget, which I share with you freely and openly often, right? My budget really helped me. But beyond that, I worked a lot, okay? I'm gonna be very honest. I've been working a lot. I've been teaching a lot of dance on top of my regular job, YouTube, of course. So I've been working on earning more. And because I'm spending my time doing income earning activities, I'm spending a little less time on like frivolous things, like just sitting and watching Netflix. And don't shame people for watching some Netflix, because I love watching some TV sometimes. But I've been doing a lot less of that and putting my energy toward income earning activities. So that had a lot to do with this. So that being said, when I'm planning for October, I really like to cover the basics first, which Dave Ramsey refers to as the 4 walls. And your 4 walls, your basic needs, are your housing, your utilities, your food, and your transportation. So if you're thinking about your October budget, hey, don't forget to take out, look, I write on the back of envelopes sometimes, but sometimes I write it in my actual notebook. But right now I was scrapping on envelopes. I let nothing go to waste, right? So when you're planning for October, think about your basics first. And I know that a lot of us are struggling just to cover the basics. So when I'm telling you what I'm about to spend on October, I think of those 4 things first, right? So don't go outside of your basic needs first. Let's start with like just wrapping up the basics, right? All right. So housing, right? Gonna pay my normal mortgage. You guys know I also do an additional principal payment every single month that I've committed to. So housing will remain the same, but there is 2 things that I've got to do on the utility side that's going to cost me more in October than what I've been spending in the summer. So the first thing is oil. I purchase oil to heat my home. And the one thing that I do need to schedule is maintenance on that. It is very smart to have your boiler cleaned once a year so that everything runs efficiently in the winter. Does the cost kind of suck? Yes, it does. The last I remember, a boiler cleaning was roughly around $250, and I'm going to assume that everything's higher. So I'm gonna estimate for this boiler cleaning this year, it's probably gonna cost around $300. I'm gonna estimate $300 so that my heating system runs efficiently all winter long to avoid problems. Don't want my heat to shut down in the middle of the winter, any pipes to freeze, anything like that. So that's something I'm gonna highly recommend you try to fit in the budget, especially if you live in the cold in Maine like I do. It's a priority. The next thing is purchasing the oil. Last year at this time, when I got my first batch of oil, it was over $600. So I'm gonna assume it's probably closer to $700 now. So there's $1,000 right there. Like all that work, you think about it, like all those hours of teaching dance, all that for heat, which is important, and the cleaning of the heating system. So there's half of it just for this. So I've worked all that just for this, but imagine I hadn't worked all that for this. There's $1,000. The next thing I need to do is okay, so housing, okay. Utilities, that's gonna be like the bigger thing. My like gas probably won't be too much more. Electricity, fluctuates, but the heating is the big thing. Next, let's go on to transportation. We'll leave food for last. Transportation, I need to have my car serviced. Every year in Maine, you need to have your car inspected, and it's not cheap. And last year, you guys, I don't know if you remember this, when Buns passed away, my sweet cat passed away, I also went to get my car serviced, and I needed I think it was like $1,500 worth of things for them to pass the inspection. My car is not even that old. It's like a 2015, but I had never ever had to do that in the past. I had never had to pay on top of it was usually just passed right away. So that was $1,500. So this year, I don't know. What could it be? What if that hits me again? Now let's say it's $1,500. I'm already over what I saved on September just for that alone. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking about how it can go so fast, and how I understand when we're talking about budgets, sometimes it just feels like, how far can we make these budgets stretch when we have all these things going on? And this is just the basics, right? Like my car needs to run. It needs to be inspected for it to be on the road. I need to have an oil change because it's time. And it's very hard to fight them on, what needs to be done. So I just know that's coming. Let's talk about food budget for October. Back in the day, you guys probably remember this if you've been with me for a while. I used to spend $75 every time I went to the grocery store, which was once a week, right? So 75 to 100. Like my budget used to be between 300 and 400. I have one child, myself, and 3 cats. Not happening. And those people that want to be extreme with their budgets, awesome. But realistically for me, I've definitely added a few hundred onto that, like for realistic purposes. Cat litter, cat food, they do wet and dry food. Just basic things. And I include for my groceries, cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, deodorant, all those things. So, to fit that now, it's just not happening. I'm just being realistic. But one of the big things that has helped me that I've shared with you recently is grocery pickup. It's just made my life so much better. We went inside the other day and I went in for milk. Came out with 2 gallons of milk, because we do drink a lot of milk, but 2 bags of groceries. And my bill was $70. Obviously, I didn't just get milk, but I didn't get that much. I had 2 bags and 2 gallons, and it was $70. And I just thought, this is insane, but this is what's happening right now. So the grocery pickup has helped me, because when I'm doing the grocery pickup, it's adding up what I'm spending. And I'm really thinking it's not like I'm just walking around the store and being throwing things in. When I'm doing it online, I take it out before I even get to the checkout, right? I get there and then I'm like, you know what, we can do without that this week. We don't really need that, and you can really reevaluate. So some people hate grocery pickup. I'm a huge fan, and it has helped me get my grocery budget down, because before I started doing that, there were about 2 or 3 months that, I mean, my bill was, like $700-800, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? I gotta cull this down. So now I'm doing much better, but that's been a key for me. But again, do what works for you. We've talked about having capsule groceries, focusing on more things, more ingredients that can go further. Like I always say, eggs, cheese, bread, like things that you can make lots of things out of. And another big thing that I want to just stress on this channel, if you're new here or if you've been with me for a bit, I don't money shame on this channel. So you're not going to hear me telling you how to spend your money. I trust that you know what's better for you, and I'm not going to tell you this is right or wrong. And I also don't food shame. I can't stand that, you guys. I gotta be really honest. I can't stand it when, and I'm probably gonna get comments right on this video like, oh, well, I only buy organic. If that's how you shop, I'm not judging that. You love organic, or you feel like that's best for your family. Not everyone is into organic, and not everyone's budget can reflect an organic food budget like at this time. But that's your decision. If that's number one priority, then that's where your money's gonna go. But if people have, huge medical bills or other things, they might have to be eating mac and cheese and ramen noodles or whatever they need to get by. Everything for a season can be manageable, and it's gonna be up and down. You're gonna do what's best for your family, but you're not gonna get any judgment from me. Even though I talk about these things, this channel, I want you to just be you and do what you got to do. But I want you to learn stuff from each other and figure out better ways if you're looking for ways. If you're watching this, you're probably in that kind of community or that kind of mindset. Like you want to do a little bit better. And that's why we get together each week to talk about it. A couple things that are on my radar. So when we're talking about heating costs, maintenance, car service, food, basic food, that's all in my household budget, right? You guys know I have 4 budgets: household, savings / your future self, giving, and lifestyle. So all of those things are in the household. There's nothing there that's like optional right now. A couple miscellaneous things that I'm gonna be having on my radar is I need a new pair of sneakers. My sneakers are almost going through at the bottom. Like there's no tread. They're in rough shape, and I use them until the end, and there's about to be a hole. So I need to purchase some new sneakers. And for Kaden, what's on my radar is I've got to double check and see if his winter coat fits. And if not, we need to get a new winter coat because we need to stay warm. And I've got to check his boots, and I've got to check gloves and hat. Make sure that we have those basics covered for the winter. Because it's coming, we've got those cool, crisp mornings right now, followed by like a reasonable afternoon, followed by a cool, crisp evening. And it's a beautiful time. I love it so much, but I want to start thinking about the things we're going to need that are, kind of essential for a Maine winter. You gotta have coverage when it gets cold, because it gets cold, very cold. All right, K-Squad, spill the tea right here in the comments. Let me know below what is on your mind for your budget for October. It's never too soon to start thinking about the rest of this quarter. You guys know I love to think about things in quarters. So we've got October, November, December, which means the landslide of holidays are on their way. Some of you get really into Halloween. Some of you love Thanksgiving more than anything. And then there's Christmas. There's a lot coming up, so it's definitely something to consider. Today, I wanted to focus more on basic needs and the essentials, which are obviously essential for a reason, but all the other things, depending on your budget, keep it in mind. Of course, we'll be talking about that all coming up this entire quarter. And guys, I just love seeing you each week. So let me know below what's going on, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, before you go, I'm gonna leave a couple videos here for you to watch next for more inspiration. Okay, I'm really gonna go this time.